Aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. A decent day for the market, but when the opening bell rang and I said to buy the S&P 266 calls, which subsequently rallied almost 100% intraday again today, I then stated that I wanted to see the market either explode out the gate, trend higher all session long, closing pretty strong, and or explode out the gate, consolidate sideways into the 2 p.m., 3 p.m. hour, and then explode higher, closing near the high of the day. Clearly that didn't happen. Volume, as you can see on the S&P 500, was lacking. New York Stock Exchange wasn't that good. NASDAQ wasn't that good either. Was having a session before. But as you can see on the NASDAQ, we have now rallied right into the downtrending 50-day moving average. The New York Stock Exchange is the same way. S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average, only the Russell 2000 is above it. And if you look at my IWM ETF, just like my individual stock charts, which I just don't think is good right now, I won't be surprised, like I said, if we break down and roll to new lower lows, breaking through those February lows, which is why every time I go long a stock, if it starts to move higher immediately, I'm raising stops. What do I mean by that? Our FIL was along here initially, had a stop at the gap fill, and right here. Our FIL starts moving higher here. Okay, first off, it gets red bop here on this day. Now I consolidate all of my stops to this low right here because I will keep telling you, if it pulls back on heavier volume or loses its catalyst green bop, I start raising stops. So I raise them all to this low. However, our FIL breaks above it, starts to move higher. Following this day now, I now split my stops up. Half here, half here. Boom. Following today's session, I now will have 3 stops. 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. And this is how I continue to do things. CDNA, if you look, following today's session, I'm now splitting up my stops and moving 1 to right here. Get away. So right there. So that'll be a stop. I have 1 right here. I have 1 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 here. And I have a final 1 right there. And then there's stocks like HBIO, had 1 stop only here, 2 stop only here. Following today's session, 1, 2, a 3rd stop right below there. So as I keep telling everybody, stocks don't move higher immediately. Moving up my stops, consolidating them and raising them. Stocks move higher immediately, raising them. I'm not giving stocks a lot of room to work. I'll give it room to work on partial positions, but as a stock moves higher, I'm taking profits. Now, on that note, now going on the other end, I only had 2 end-of-day sell signals and quality names. Momo, which I've been completely knocked out of due to this session here, is triggering another 50% sell signal based on the above average volume closed below the 20-day moving average, this time with the BOP going negative. It closes below the 200-day moving average, it will be a full sell. But for right now on an end-of-day basis, it's just 50% thanks to this reversal bar right here. But Momo, end-of-day basis, 50%. If you're still long, this is what I would do if I still had shares. 50 here, 25 there, and a final 25 there if I still had shares. ACER is also a 50% sell signal with it closing below the 50-day moving average on above average volume while already losing the green bop. I still have quite a few shares overall as the stock has just basically been drifting sideways. But following today's session, I now have 50% of what I have left here. And then I have a stop here, a stop here, and a stop here. So 50% here, a third of the final half here, 2/3 of the final half here, 3 of 3 of the final half here. So not 2/3, but 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for a total of 3/3, but half right there. So immediately they don't move higher. I'm raising my stops up, which then leads us to the new long positions. 3 new long positions from the Perfect Speculator scan: SIGA, CASI, BYBK, and then also an ad signal from the Perfect Speculator scan, EDN. Now, all stocks were all flagged in my Perfect Speculator scan, and I told myself if they appear in any other scan, I'm taking them. Well, EDN used to be canceling quality. Its earnings per share I think, I can't remember which way it's going, but I didn't look. Sorry, folks. I didn't look yesterday either. But I know that it's no longer a CanSlim quality stock. Now, the earnings and sales growth, I'm sure, will turn higher and it will become a future CanSlim quality stock again. But right now, it's not. But it's ex-CanSlim, so it's still in that scan. So with it being perfect speculator, confirmed in my CanSlim scan, I'm going long. But it's not CanSlim anymore, so it's only perfect speculator. Half of my capital, since it's an ad signal, 0.5% of my capital, limit order 5850, and then we do the same thing as we did yesterday. 1 stop here, 2 stop here, 3 stop here, my 4th and final stop here. Don't forget my original entry on the stock is all the way back here. So definitely even with the ad signal, whatever shares get placed into this name that I'm long, still using all 4 levels for EDM. That's probably the overall best signal this evening. This is legit. Not only is it a bullish hammer candle over candle pocket pivot point, above average value, heavier volume with BOP confirming, RSI and MACD confirming long signal. It's just an overall solid chart, especially on the weekly. I love this weekly chart that it's building. But now back to the new long positions. Cassie was perfect speculator. Cassie was then confirmed in my max green BOP for the past 5 days scan. BYBK was in my perfect speculator scan. Was not in my CanSlim scan, but when I went to go check it out on MarketSmith and Investors.com, CanSlim quality stock. So it's confirmed. And then SIGA, perfect speculator, confirmed in my price volume BOP surge scan. Now BYBK is not extended. It's a CanSlim quality perfect speculator stock, but this is basically an arbitrage play. Right back here, it was basically bought out by OLBK, I believe, in an all stock transaction. And their combined companies are supposed to be one day OLB. But as you can see, OLBK, it's trending higher. Might not like the way it looks, but I also didn't like CLAC, and I bought ORBK. So what's stopping me from buying BYBK? I assume BYBK, once it becomes part of OLBK, will supercharge OLBK, just like ORBK should be able to supercharge CLAC, as they're all high quality stocks, all of them. Just CLAC and ORBK are merging, and BYBK and OLBK are merging. But I'll be using BYBK for now. 1% for CanSlim, 0.5% for being confirmed in that CanSlim, so 1.5% of my capital. Limit order 1360. Pretty clear cuts sell levels. First cut loss level right there, 1325. It's a 5 center, so move below 1330. And then final cut loss right here, and move below 1320 at 1315. I'll be completely out of BYBK. Now, Cassie and SIGA should probably be informational purposes only. Cassie, just watch and observe. My plan with Cassie is I wanted the stock here. I wanted the stock here. It exploded without me, but now it's kind of consolidating in a triangle pennant formation, with the volume being slightly above average, being confirmed in the max green BOP scan, perfect speculator, also my tertiary scan, thanks to that above average volume. I want to go ahead and start a small position knowing that it might not move higher immediately. I'll give Cassie time to back and fill, which is why I'm getting long at 673. First cut loss 550. Final cut loss from now 434. Now, as it backs and fills, if it starts to do it on an above average volume and loses that max green BOP, we'll be consolidating all the stops. If Cassie starts to pull back and loses max green BOP, or especially if it loses green BOP, we'll be consolidating the stops. But for right now, I'm willing to give Cassie room to work, but I just recommend everyone avoid 0.75% of my account capital. SIGA is a little bit more safer as long as you use my first cut loss level. I mean, even if you use the final one and all hell breaks loose, if you still only have half the position, you'll be fine. But SIGA, I want to get long. It's slightly extended from the 20-day moving average, so I got to use the close, 625. The first cut loss, and maybe the only one you should use, is this last green BOP bar, but the session before is only 1 cent lower than the last green BOP bar, so we'll use 1 cent below that level at 593. The final cut loss, that big intraday bullish candle reversal on heavier volume. If SIGA fails that 561 low at 560, I don't want to have any part of this stock on the way back here. Now, if it had green BOP all the way back to here, 1/3 here, 1/3 here, and then a final third here. Or, more than likely, since I like symmetry, 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. 1, 2, 3, 4. If this was all green bop filled. But since green bop stops here, I recommend just using that final stop. For me, it'll be 593, 560, limit order 625. But Siga is risky. Cassie's risky. BYBK is kind of an arbitrage play, but it's definitely not risky. But if you don't get a whole lot of alpha in it, don't say I'm not surprised or didn't warn you. And then EDN probably. This is definitely the highest quality signal of the evening. But where's the green bop? Can't have things perfect nowadays, folks. It's just the way it is. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the chat room on Friday.